Sarah is coming. She's just a little delayed. So she'll be here. Sarah Kaufman.
And if you're on your email, you should have gotten the form from me. You should have an email saying you've got the form. And so don't do anything, we'll do it live and I'll put the results in. As opposed to just being creative. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. And we certainly could do paper and pencil, but
I do, yeah.
and then this way we have one sheet with all the tallies on it, and it's public record.
Yes, even. Oh. They'll go with all your logo wear that you're supporting.
I did have one question on the minutes. Oh, don't look at me like that, Summer. The lawn care bids, it was 3-2, and you said it didn't pass. Was that just because it wasn't technically,
Was it the majority here?
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
Would be the majority of board members, not the majority of attendance.
Yes, okay. I just was curious if that's, because we didn't know that until later. I wanted to prove that I read that.
Okay, it's 5:30. I'd like to call the meeting to order and ask everyone to please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, give everyone a minute or two more to review your consent agenda items.
Is this the appropriate time to ask to pull an item from the consent agenda, or should I do it? Should I ask that when we get down there?
I think now's fine.
Okay. Well, I would like to pull the April 28th minutes from the consent agenda just to suggest a correction.
Okay. We'll move on to, we need a motion to, well, actually, do you want to, about the agenda for tonight? Do you want to speak on that before? So we have to make a change to the agenda for the meeting tonight?
Yeah, so we would be pulling item F. Thank you. Recycled asphalt from bond work. And Simon and AJ can provide more clarification if you'd like. What's in there right now is a approval of a deduction in the costs, which the board doesn't necessarily need to take action on to accept a lower rate. However, there were some conversations about what comes after this, the mix of asphalt and what we would actually be doing. So we'd pull this off, do the right terms here, the milling and all of that as one bid to basically do what we talked about, pull up the asphalt, mill it. Is that the right term?
Correct, yeah. It'll just be a separate project.
Yeah.
Not change
and then deliver it, the whole thing in one project, delivery and compaction, whatever the proper term is. So again, what's there right now is simply they were going to give us $5,000 back to store it on site, but the project is obviously much more involved than that, so we would come back to you with the bids for that whole project for approval, either the June workshop or possibly a special meeting prior to that, so.
I would move to approve the agenda with the elimination of item F as it stands, but also with the addition of the Coleman contract as a replacement for item F.
And so I've got it here, and I don't know that the board would need to take a formal vote on signing that. I would open it up to the board. My intent would be to, go down that avenue because I do have the authority to sign those contracts. So I don't know if you want to make it an official motion for the board to, again, kind of direct it or give me the authority to sign that contract, because there are some things we need to clear up with it. He's got the old school district on the document there. And then I do want to run it by our attorneys as well, just to make sure that it's good.
That was my thought, that we perhaps would finalize or vote to finalize and authorize or direct the administration to make the final adjustment or whatever to that contract. And then I thought it would be fitting for a board motion, but yes, recognizing you have the authority to go ahead and complete that process.
Yeah. So I'm good with it either way, if we want to make it a.
Okay, so we have a motion on the floor by Eric Lawson to approve the agenda with the removal of item F and inserting in its place the Coleman contract.
I'll second it.
Did the motion, I apologize. Did the motion also include the removal of the April 28th agenda? I believe that was also.
Well, no, he just wanted to do a correction, but we
Just
can
a
get to
correction?
that when we get
Okay.
down there, right?
Yeah, I'm sure that can wait till approval of that consent items. We can just do that separately in that little group.
Okay, anything further about the agenda for tonight? Okay, if not, all in favor, show of hands, please. Okay, if good. Please note that Sarah Fritz was a no. Thank you. Okay. All right, we will move on to our reports and presentations. Lincoln Good News.
If you drag your window to the right, I think it is.
Okay, I might have you because I don't know how to work your phone. So.
All right, you're fine. All right, hold on, where are we? I'm not getting anything right now.
Yeah, it's on the other.
You have.
It's on the extension.
All right, hold on. And go present it. Go to present it for that one, yep. It's not coming through up there at all.
Yeah. So I think if you do I turn off that, or we can mirror it here.
We probably need to mirror it.
All right, then I need glasses for that.
All right.
Nope, these don't help.
Sorry. Too much or too little?
I think too much.
I asked the question.
Yeah. I got there, but no.
Go into device, display.
Okay, go to present.
Perfect. There. All right, sorry about that. Clearly, we're not technology teachers. All right, so we are teachers from Lincoln. My name is Kate Benitez. I teach 5th grade.
I'm Deanne Reesner. I teach 2nd grade.
And I'm Barbara Mowbray, and I teach 4th grade.
All right, we are excited to show you guys what we've been working on this year.
These are our school expectations. As you can see, it spells ROAR every single morning. The students say these: respect myself and others, be organized so I'm ready to learn, choose a positive attitude, and be responsible for my choices. Then, of course, we have to end it. Lincoln Lions roar!
And here's some examples of what we've been doing in academics and programming. Every week, our 5th graders go down and read with kindergarten reading buddies. This gets the kindergartners excited to read and share with the 5th graders, as well as allows the 5th graders some experience in leadership and taking the initiative to help the younger kids reading. At the top, we have a picture from our choir concert. The kids were really excited to dress up and share the songs they've been practicing with their families. And also this week, 1st grade is excited to welcome meteorologist John Gross to their classroom to teach them about weather systems. So we have a lot of fun things going on.
And then for our child development, our younger students had the opportunity to write letters to Santa and walk downtown to deliver them in person. Fireman Andy also visited the classes to teach about fire safety.
Our staff loves to get involved in everything that Lincoln offers. So here are some silly pictures from Math and Science Family Night, as well as a few of our teachers on Halloween.
Lincoln is really involved with our family and community partnerships. Some highlights of our year include Ready, Set, Swim, bowling, art in the loft, and Starbase.
And this year, the 5th graders have partnered with 4-H, and we are creating a butterfly garden in 2 patches in the front of our school where the students have been weeding and planting flowers. We're learning about pollinators and making our own little beehives. And then in the back of the school, we've actually partnered with Home Depot, and they are donating a fence and donating some labor to come out and help us create our first ever vegetable garden. The students started last week planting little vegetables that we have in little cups that are growing, and so we're doing a lot of work with that, which has been really exciting.
We had a great time at Literacy Night where our students were each given a passport and they were able to travel around the world and complete different literacy activities with their families, and then they could earn actual stamps on their passports as they did that.
And then we also had a math and science night. They followed an out-of-the-world theme where students and parents rotated through stations, including rocket launch, and that was done by the volunteers from Starbase. And I'd like to add a little bit of something to that. We also collaborated with the high school students and the hockey team this year, and we were really pleased that they were able to come and they did an art project for kindness for the with the students. They did some of the musicians from the high school came over, and this is what really touched a lot of us was when they were doing the reading, we had a little extra time for the students to express some career choices. And in the classrooms, you might hear them say, oh, why do I have to learn this math? Well, I'll tell you what, they sat there and they listened to those high school students, and the high school students brought in some of the math concepts. And I think it really made a connection with why do we have to learn this math?
Absolutely. And this year we hosted our first annual Lincoln Pancake Dinner. And so this was really great. We had a really good turnout from families in the communities. So the kids were so excited to help decorate for this and go down in the gym and get everything ready. And we are excited to continue that tradition as well.
Scoop, there it is. This week, 13 awesome students graduated from Trails Skill Group. and they wrapped it all up with a well-deserved ice cream bash. Each session, they could earn extra toppings by showing up, staying engaged, and being group rock stars. Sprinkles for effort? Yes, please. Throughout the group, students learned some seriously cool tools for tackling tough thoughts and feelings, like flipping automatic negative thoughts, getting moving with behavioral activation, and climbing fear ladders to take on anxiety step by step. According to them, these were the go-to strategies that they found most helpful.
And then a couple students shared their favorite things they have done this year.
My favorite thing was going to the firehouse. My favorite thing this year is the Trail Sunday ice cream.
All right, so these are brothers in our school, fifth grader Corbin and kindergartner Landon. And Corbin's favorite thing was the Trails ice cream party. And then Landon said his favorite thing was visiting the firehouse.
Oh, my favorite thing I did this year was the birthday
This was a fifth grader and the kindergartner who loved creating the butterfly garden and going on field trips.
And in closing tonight, thank you for allowing us to present our experiences from Lincoln School. Lincoln staff and students are excited to continue to learn and grow every day. And please, if you have any time, I know schedules are busy, but please come and see what Lincoln School is doing. We have a great time over there, and we would enjoy having you all.
We would love to have you anytime.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Thanks for
guys.
coming. Okay, up next we have some student council. Do we need?
Hi, my name is Lucy Cook. I'm the
Hang on.
president.
Do we have their
I'm Callie
slideshow?
Brusso, and I'm the
Yeah,
vice
no,
president.
hold on one second.
Let's get this.
Do you want to connect the slideshow or?
Oh, yeah.
Can we help? Steph, can you help them maybe? Do you mind helping? Probably true, but. Oh,
Maybe not.
maybe not, yeah.
Thank you, Steph.
I did share it. With who? With,
Steph,
Summer.
do you have a HTML?
sure.
Not on this, not on our school Chromebooks.
Oh, I've got,
She emailed it to Summer, so.
yeah. I got it.
Dave had, is it? He's pulling it up.
Okay. It's okay. I know, I didn't even think about that.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, just.
While he's pulling it up, do you each want to introduce yourselves?
Okay. Yeah, you.
Oh,
Go for it. Go for it.
my name's Lucy. I'm the president. I'm Callie. I'm the vice president.
I'm Colin.
I'm Claire. I'm Ava.
I'm Grady.
Thanks, guys. Okay, here we go.
Thank you.
There we go.
All right, so Student Council just wanted to give a little recap of what we've been up to this year. The Student Council's mission is to bridge the gap between students and staff to create an accepting and welcoming environment. This goal guides our work in making an impact on our school to improve both staff and student experience. The Student Council has taken on several yearly school events and tasks, including Popcorn Fridays, game day themes, managing new club events. We got a new bulletin board this year that all the clubs are welcome to post anything on. Reviewing and implementing student suggestions using the suggestion box.
So, this year the Student Council was lucky enough to ask to be organized the Veterans Day Assembly to honor our staff that have served and to recognize students who plan on going into the military. It was a great way to recognize their achievements and sacrifices.
Our Teacher Appreciation Week included spirit days like teachers dressed like students and representing their alma mater. Thanks to donations from a school board member, we were able to celebrate teacher appreciation with coffee, donuts, and mini planters for all teachers in the high school.
We coordinated a successful pre-prom assembly about the consequences of driving under the influence. It was very realistic. We tried to make it as realistic as possible to simulate a crash. Members of student councils acted out as victims of accidents. We also had the police and fire department come out and act as realistically as possible what they would do in this situation. And it was treated as if it was a real accident.
Overall, we had a successful year with events that we hope to continue in the future. We are always looking for an input and ideas for more changes that we can make within our school.
Do you guys have any questions for us?
Actually, I have one. The suggestion box, which I think is an awesome idea, but I had a couple students tell me that they don't feel comfortable putting suggestions in there in the large commons because everyone can see them doing that. Is there somewhere else or another way for kids to give their comments to you guys?
We do have a link to like an online form in our
perfect.
Instagram bio. I know not every kid has social media, but most kids do nowadays. And we do have most of the high school students following that, so that is in our bio. I don't know if they know about that, but we could try to make that more known.
I will add that our Instagram has received individual messages from students who don't want to fill out the form, but I know I myself have also received some individual messages just working as on behalf of the student council.
Perfect, thank you.
You're welcome.
For those comments on Instagram, are those anonymous or do they have to put their names?
So when they message us on our student council account, it'll go to me as vice president. That's just kind of what one of the jobs is, running the account, but it'll come straight from their personal account, so we will see who it is. But if they fill out the form online, I believe it's anonymous.
It's totally anonymous.
Yeah, so the form is anonymous. Yeah.
Thanks.
Yeah. All right. Thank you.
Thank you for coming. Thank you.
I'll leave this here, I guess.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, thank you. Yeah, that's great.
Okay, our EL program.
I have my tech person hook me up here. Thank you. All right, so I'm happy to share with you some updates regarding our new and improved English language program. I just wanted to start by showing you kind of where we've been. You see, like historically, we've had just very few students who are English learners in the district, and then we had kind of a sharp increase in numbers. So with that happening, that trend happening the last couple years, we knew we needed to make a little bit of a change in our program and work to increase our services. Also within these numbers, our exchange students would be counted in that. And then the last 2 years, we also received some students who moved into the area who had more limited English proficiency. So they really needed a lot of support to access communication and education day to day. So this year, we hired Dr. Brandy Schooks as our English language teacher. She couldn't be here tonight, but I wanted to make sure to give her some shout outs because she's been instrumental in making these improvements this year. So she moved to Alpena a few years ago with her family, and she was one of our special ed teachers. Prior to that, she was an English language teacher in Kalamazoo Public Schools, and she still teaches at Western. She teaches some English language coursework for students who are working on their English language certificate. So she's a great find for us in developing this program. She's really an expert. So with her addition to our team, we were able to provide improved direct service programming. So weekly push-in services or pull-out services for students. She was able to complete all the WIDA screener and WIDA state assessments. So the screeners happens at the beginning of the year, and then the state assessments happen winter, spring. And then she will also help support teams in navigating when it might be appropriate to use a native language for NWEA testing. It's kind of tricky to determine when this population might be eligible for special education, and there's really a specific process when you're going through that evaluation. So we've had the opportunity to work with AMA this year and refine that process for students. Dr. Schicks writes all the individualized learning plans and progress monitors students' progress from those plans as well while she's providing her services. Also very important is the indirect programming that we provide for students. So obviously, Brandy's not able to be with students all day long, so it's really important for her to support the teachers that are with the students. So with instructional strategies, accommodation support, assistive tech, she gives them all kinds of tips and accommodation. She's also been able to provide some family support and facilitating some interpreting services when our families need that. So starting this upcoming fall, a new federal and state legislation is going to be in effect for minimum service delivery minutes aligned to the student's proficiency level. So we knew this was coming, and we were making adjustments to be able to meet those minimums. So that's why we're currently recruiting for another teacher so that we continue to meet or exceed the service delivery while making sure that we're still supporting all the indirect services that's super important for this population. Thought it would be fun just to show you just a little snapshot of all the languages and countries that are represented across our population of students. So our program really focuses in on fostering proficiency in English. So reading, writing, speaking, listening, those are the areas the WIDA tests as well. And then we develop those individualized plans. They're really specific to each student. And then again, supporting teachers and staff in working with the students day to day. So the WIDA is a research-based assessment, again, that tests all those areas we already spoke about, and it's required by the state of Michigan. It's used to determine eligibility for services, develop those learning plans, and to measure growth. So our multilingual students they also participate in all the other benchmark assessments that we provide throughout the district, so we can utilize that data as well. And then Dr. Schicks also likes to get that qualitative input from teachers to learn how the students might be interacting with their peers and some of those things that might be harder to measure on the WIDA that the student might need support with. So all of that information is used to help develop those plans for students. We've also had the opportunity to use some technology this year. You see that little bottom picture there. That's a translator. So students who are newcomers and have limited English proficiency, a couple of our students were able to use that technology tool to be able to have access to their native language so they can still learn while they're bridging the learning gap for their language. Also, Google Suites has a lot of embedded translating services that they can utilize. And then some of our curriculum materials have embedded accommodations for English language students. And as we move forward with looking at new curriculum, as we're adopting new resources, we are looking to see how those resources will provide accommodation support to all of our special populations. So new this year, Dr. Schicks pursued the seal by literacy with one of her students. So this is given to students who are getting ready to graduate when they achieve proficiency in English in one or more languages. So this is not just for our English language students. This could be for any student that's participating in a foreign language. So it's open to anyone who has achieved those skills. Obviously, it looks good on your college applications and when you're looking for jobs, and just develops those the 21st century skills that we want our students to have. So we have our first student for APS that's earned that recognition, and it also turns out it's the first student in Northeast Michigan who's received the seal of biliteracy. So we are excited about that. This is just a quick chart to just show you the amount of newcomers we have and students who have a little more higher proficiency in their English. And then the second chart, you can see that as we received more students who are English learners, the growth went down, which is also was an indicator for us to provide more direct services for the students. So going forward, we're going to continue to recruit for an English language consultant to help support student services and the direction of the program. We hope to provide more coaching support and PD to staff who are working with the population. And because we are a growing program, we still want to continue to refine our procedures and practices and our data review cycles. And then we are working on a handbook that we'll be bringing for your approval sometime this summer. So, does anybody have any questions for me?
Could you go back to the slide about where our English language students are from and what languages?
Yeah.
I thought that was totes fascinating,
Yeah,
and I would like to learn more about a couple of those languages.
Yeah. Yeah, so, Dr. Schicks could give more details about the specifics about the students, but it's a lot more than Spanish. We would think that most of our students would be Spanish speakers, but we have a wide range of students coming from a lot of different areas of the world.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah. Anything else? All right, well, thank you for your
Thank
time.
you.
Thanks.
Okay, we are at the first opportunity for citizens or delegations who would like to address the board. Just a reminder, according to Board Policy 0167.3, public participation at board meetings, individuals who will be addressing the board are asked to state their name, address, and/or your group affiliation. Please direct all comments to the board, not staff or other participants. Shall not make personal attacks against a school board member or school district employee by name. Limit speaking to 3 minutes in duration. Shall not speak more than once on the same topic unless all others who wish to speak on that topic may have been heard. This portion of the meeting shall be limited to 30 minutes, but the time frame will be extended if necessary so that no one's rights to address the board will be denied.
Hi, I'm Bonnie Wergo, 8031 Ellsworth in Alpena. I wanted to just come up and say thank you to all of you for participating in the book review and working to improve yourselves as a board. I think it's really great. And the takeaways that I heard people speaking of last time were the importance of self-reflection and that spending 50% or more time on improving student outcomes is important. And I think that was great to hear multiple people say. With that, I have two suggestions or considerations. With the the math curriculum that was presented, I heard some surprise sounds when we heard it was 10 years old. And so I think it would be important that with school, I've heard also that school success rates have not been as good as we want them to be. And a really good place to start would be to look at the age of all of the curriculums if we don't all know that. And let's get maybe a rotating review of that on a calendar so that we don't have a surprise that, oh, this curriculum is so old. Also, I heard that there's still interest in continuing to look at alternative counsel. And I would just like to ask that before any money is spent in doing so, that there's a clear goal for the purpose of arranging an alternative counsel for whatever that's for. Also, identify really clear criteria when you will reach out to that particular alternative counsel. And should you end up with multiple legal opinions that are conflicting, determine how that's going to be resolved before any money is spent on this issue.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Anyone else?
I'm Yvonne LaFave Johnson. I live in Alpena Township. I'm an Alpena High graduate and a concerned taxpayer. I also wanted to thank you for the thoughtful book discussion at your May 12th meeting. I think it was a great way to help all of us agree on some common ground. Based on that conversation and on your work on the board, I trust that we all agree one of the board's fundamental responsibilities is to advance student academic success. I appreciate that you tabled the proposed bathroom policy modeled after Fairview's policy. However, I'm concerned that a Coleman contract has been added to tonight's agenda. It appears that some board members still want to shop at $2.75 an hour for a legal opinion that supports an effort to harass and discriminate against gender nonconforming students. I ask you to instead focus on boosting student achievement. With that common ground in mind, I have several questions I'd like you to consider. How will a bathroom policy improve student test scores? How will a bathroom policy prevent truancy or reduce the dropout rate? How will a bathroom policy prepare APS students to pursue higher education or a career? I also have several logistical questions. Who exactly is going to police the bathrooms and locker rooms? Are administrators going to be standing guard? Are you going to add the responsibility to already overburdened teachers? Or do you expect students to police each other? What will the punishment be if a child violates this policy? Are you going to check birth certificates, require blood tests, or check children's genitals? I hope that those questions sound as absolutely disturbing and absurd to you as this entire issue sounds to me. Again, I ask you to move past the bathroom issue. Let's use your valuable time wisely and focus on promoting student academic achievement. Please do not vote to engage Coleman for an opinion on the bathroom policy.
Thank you. Anyone else? We'll have another opportunity later on in the agenda. We'll move along to our action items. Up next will be the consent agenda items, and Eric had a concern, wanted to suggest a correction from the April 28th regular meeting minutes.
Yeah, if you want to begin with that, I just thought, looking at the April 28th minutes, page 7, second paragraph, we have Raymond spelled correctly at the title, but then I think autocorrect turned it into Raymond. And I just thought for clarity we should just correct that. So with that, I would move to approve this agenda with that little change.
Do you want to make the motion for all?
Well, I mean, I thought we would do the consent agenda separately
Okay,
since
do
it
that.
still has a couple items on it.
Okay. So you want to do a motion just to approve that one separately with that modification?
Indeed.
Okay. Okay, so we have a motion on the floor to approve the April 28th, 2025 regular meeting minutes with the spelling correction.
Support.
Anything further on this set of minutes? Okay, not. All in favor, show of hands, please. Okay, thank you. That was all 7. Okay, and then we have the other 2 minutes. We would need approval of the May 12th, 2025 workshop meeting minutes, the approval of the May 12th, 2025 special meeting minutes.
I would offer that motion.
Support.
Okay, anything further? Okay, all in favor, a show of hands, please. Okay, thank you. That's all 7. All right. Additional business requiring board action. Up first is the 2025-2026 AMA ESD proposed general fund budget resolution. I think we all had new copies on our table too.
Yep, stapled packet. So. And this is an annual procedure that's required for the ISD to have resolutions offering support or disapproval of their proposed general fund budget. So as part of this, we would record our statement, those that support or disapprove, and fill out the attached resolution at the back of the pack tonight in time for their deadline of, I believe, June 2nd, to have those in from the districts. June 1st.
So is this resolution on the back correct, though? It just says, whereas the board received on or before, okay, yeah, we got it, okay, yes, before May 21st, but then approving it by June 1st. So we would need a motion to adopt the preamble and resolution as presented.
So moved.
Support.
Okay, anything further?
I was just curious with the reduction, is that maybe just evidence of sort of COVID money running its course, or were there other reasons for that we're aware of for the reduction in budget this year?
Is in the total amount or a particular area?
Yeah, I guess the total amount. It just looked like it was the budget amendment was trimming off quite a bit.
Yeah, so.
All the red ink.
I don't recall,
There's
in general,
a
he
lot of
addressed that in the
grants.
screencast, and so.
Yeah, probably those grants all ran out. That's quite a few
Yeah,
grants.
okay,
right?
so that's jogging my memory.
Yeah.
That's what he said in his video that
Okay.
we were
Okay.
looking at, that a lot of the grant money is dwindling down.
Okay. Anything else? Okay. We can just do it, looks like on the resolution, we can just do a show of hands for all in favor. Okay, all seven, thank you. Okay, ESD board elections.
All right, so now it gets a little more technical. You want to grab your computer. So again, there are 3 openings for the AME ESD board, and so we can select 3, but there are 4 candidates. And so I shared a procedure. It doesn't have to be a public vote. And so if you would, we'll do that through a Google form. Assuming this all goes according to plan. So you should have received a Google form.
In your email.
In your email, 519 AMA board election.
Got it. Whoops.
And so being logged in through your Alpena Schools account, you open up that form, you should be able to get in, and then you just have to vote for 3. Or you can vote yes on 3. You can either leave 1 blank or vote no on it.
Do you want us to click on the fill out Google Forms or fill it out in the body of the email?
Should do either.
Either way is okay?
Yeah. Yep. And so if this works, we'll get live results.
Extended page, are you sure? Yes, I'm sure. Okay.
And once we've done that, we hit review and submit?
Yes.
And was it, can you remind me, was it Denny, was that the one that was out of district?
Yeah, Lenny Avery is the.
Lenny, okay, the Lenny
is
one,
from
thank you.
Alcona County.
It wouldn't let me do it in the email, so it routed me back.
And we may end up just doing paper and pencil too. I just thought this
Try it
would,
again, yeah.
all right, it's working.
It's working.
Okay.
Oh, got it.
submitted.
Is it?
Try it again.
Siri, I had to check the box at the top by your email.
Ah, okay.
So once you do that, then it should go through.
Oh, fill out in Google Forms. Got it. All right. Hang on, sorry.
No, I think you're just waiting for.
Oh.
And then go down to the bottom. Hit submit. There we go. All right. So we've got Darren, Jay, and Lisa. No tiebreaker needed.
All right, perfect. Okay, so with that, then we would need a motion to adopt the preamble and resolution to designate the 2025 electoral body representatives for the AMA ESD Board of Education as presented.
I'll make the motion.
I'll support.
Okay, anything further? Nope, okay. All in favor, show of hands, please. All right, that's all 7, thank you. And you're able to go to that meeting and take care of that?
Yep.
All right, thank you.
Yep.
Okay, up next, we have the custodial supplies bid. And then the consumables, so. Simon's, come on up.
So this is the,
Oh.
this is like found it.
I'll give you a minute to review. Overall cost is very much unchanged from last year. Only a slight increase, so. You may notice some of the numbers are out of order or missing. Those are items that we removed because we did not purchase any of those in the past year, so. If you're wondering why the numbers are skipped.
Simon, is it hard dealing with more than one vendor for this?
Not really, no, because they ship directly to each building. So we don't. So yeah, using more than one vendor is not a problem. So yeah, they put our orders together by building and ship them directly too. So.
That's handy.
And we're only doing it's a quarterly order form for custodial. So they're only doing 4 orders a year, so not a.
Does anyone have any questions for Simon about these?
I just have one comment. I really appreciate the supply price change page, that page. I think that's really interesting and useful for looking at the context of everything. I just have one comment. Have mercy. Look, it's so
This is a terrible bid to do.
It's so tiny. I'm going to be actually mentioning this again later in my comments. Personally, I'm just going to need bigger print.
Oh.
But anyway, it's great. It's a great addition. Thank you.
Yeah, we could put it on 2 pages, so.
Anything else? Okay, if not, we would need a motion to approve the recommended custodial supplies bid as presented.
I would offer that motion.
Second.
Anything further? If not, all in favor, show of hands, please. Okay, that's all 7, thank you. All right, up next would be the consumable supplies bid.
Very similar to custodial supplies, we're only seeing actually a slight decrease potentially in our overall cost from last year, so. And I do have the bags, so. If anybody would like to
Next to AJ, sample the trash.
sample the trash bags. But we're using the same vendor as last year. It's my apparent low bidder, or low winner on the trash bags, so. My testing isn't, I don't have any accreditation or anything like that, but,
I move to approve the bid for consumable supplies as presented.
Support.
Anything else? All in favor, show of hands. Okay, it's all 7, thank you. Refuse bids. Bid.
questions on garbage?
A little easier when I guess you only have one company that can handle it. We would need a motion to approve the recommended refuse disposal and supplies bid as presented.
I'll make the motion.
Second.
Anything else? All in favor, show of hands. That's 7, thank you. Okay, up next would be the Coleman contract.
Yes, I thought there was a lot of good information in there, and obviously it's a contract intended for another district, so it would need to be finalized. So I would simply move to direct the administration to put the finishing touches, and of course, yes, run it by our other legal counsel for any tweaks, and sign and finalize it.
I'll support that.
Okay. Any further conversation?
Okay, I may not be understanding this, but, so, we have Troon as a law firm, correct? Why are we going to another one? That's what I don't understand.
Well, last time, having ascertained that Neola isn't exactly a legal opinion, having a second opinion, which might have a different perspective, I think is quite valuable.
But we're already paying one law firm, so why are we going to pay another one?
Well, also to be clear, we're not suggesting that we replace Troon. I think I brought that up last time. I think because Coleman specializes in constitutional law and issues, having a second perspective on those issues to be used on sort of a limited a la carte basis is really, I think, if I understand the board's intent, is really all we're looking for.
So you're stating that we're not going to give up Troon, we're just going to have another law firm to have another opinion, correct? That's what you're stating.
Yes.
Then why have you voted since 2022, I get my notes out of here, to not reinstate Troon?
Yes, because I felt that that other perspective was absolutely lacking, which is why I'm asking for, from my point of view, just let me finish. That's why I'm asking from my point of view for this addition to our legal representation.
I mean, they're both law firms, they're both experts in educational law. I don't see why we need to.
Well, my own personal perspective on that would be that one firm is biased, and I think to receive a
Biased on what?
issues of constitutional law, and I also feel that they're a bit eager to rubber stamp whatever the state recommends, and I'd like somebody with a different perspective. That's and you don't have to agree. Maybe that's just my personal view on the matter.
Okay, thank you. I'll just say I won't vote to support it, and just to say, because I've a couple of concerns. Is one that we had, I think, called first and never responded, and then a week later called them again and they didn't respond, and then sent an email and it took almost a week to respond, and then when they did, it was right before. So I'm not opposed to having, another point of view. To me, I just feel like I don't know that there's a buy-in from Coleman if there's a, ability to help us when there's such a slow delay. And obviously we can't speak on their behalf of why it took so long, but I also just agree that I'm not really sure. I guess I understand either what constitutional law is. I feel like all attorneys follow Constitution, I would
Constitutional
think.
law.
But I'm just,
It's
saying.
the rule of law.
Saying
the rule of law is the rule of law.
Okay.
A law firm. Yeah.
Well, I would just point out that in this day of fiat's, edicts, and decrees, I would disagree that the law is constitutional law, and I believe that's why we need a little more information and another perspective.
Anything further?
So just to clarify, this motion, what, is it just an informational gathering, or this to sign this contract, what does it actually bind us to, if you will?
And that's what I'd like to just run by our attorneys to make sure. The way I read it, it is sort of a la carte. We're not obligated to use them at any level. They're there if we want to, seek an opinion. Now, if this locks us into a minimum of so many hours or something like that, I would again express concern that we'd want to be a little careful of that. And I'm not a lawyer. Just the legal services, I think, is what you're interested in, not the litigation services. And I would want to make sure that there's no conflict of interest on signing a contract with an attorney that could potentially and is currently suing public schools. I don't want to get us into a conflict of interest in that regard. So I don't believe you're looking for Coleman to represent us in court. So whether that needs to be taken out or not, I'm not sure exactly what to do. And again, I would run it by our attorneys to see. We already have attorneys through SETSAG, and Troon also represents us in litigation. So again, if we sign on saying we're now using him for litigation, I don't know if that creates a conflict of interest and negates any policies that we have in place. That's what I'd want to figure out before actually signing on the dotted line.
So this motion is to allow you, Dave, to explore the option and to look into it more thoroughly and to basically just clarify that
Well, the
for us,
motion was
the options?
to work out tweaks, finalize, and sign, so.
But it gives Dave the authority to look into it, and if there is reservation, he can bring that to us,
Yes, I would
correct?
suggest
Yes,
that
okay.
if you're not ready to sign it, bring questions to the board.
Yeah. And you had mentioned the June 1st date. He just drew up a contract with a starting date, so we're not missing out on anything if it starts July 1st or August 1st or any day in between there.
Okay, thank you. Anyone have anything further?
I would just suggest a roll call.
Okay.
Well, I do have a question. So it's a la carte. So we could sign this, but we don't have to, we'll have to pay if we use it or get their
The way
input?
I'm reading it,
Okay, 'cause
yes,
that's
but
what
I
I'm
just want to
reading
make
too.
sure that there isn't something that,
Yeah.
again, I'm fairly confident it's not there because it would probably say something along the lines of a minimum of X amount of services.
It doesn't say anything like that.
But I just want to make sure that we don't sign off on something and then
It just says, Common Legal Group standard hourly attorney rate is $400. However, the firm agrees to reduce its rate to $275 per hour for all counsel legal services for the first year of agreement and $285 per hour for the second year. So we have a motion on the floor, and anything else before we do a roll call?
If it's just for Dave to explore, the motion should not say him signing.
Okay. Okay.
Well, I would ask my motion stand as it is, and again, if he is not prepared to sign or there are outstanding questions, I have no problem personally with him bringing this to the board to say I haven't signed it yet. But still, with the directive to sign it would stand unless he brings such information that the board would move to sort of abandon the project or change course.
My only concern is I don't know that the board has ever directed me to sign a contract. That's a power delegated to me by my position, and Mary's the other one that by definition are the two that sign it. So again, we've done it in the past where it's clear that the will of the board is that we want to go down this path, but I don't know that we've ever had where the board directs the superintendent to sign a contract in this way.
If that's a concern, yeah, I understand what you're saying. I would be willing to amend my motion to say, direct the administration to engage the Coleman Legal Group as an auxiliary attorney. And whoever seconded might agree or not.
Doesn't engage still mean we want to hire them?
Indeed, it does.
That's what I don't want. That's what I don't want in the motion. Just explore it, but not have anything signed or engaged.
Mary, just please
That's
come up to
certainly
the
not,
podium if you
not my
can.
motion.
Well,
I would suggest, just as a temporary motion, that you leave out that third part and just go with the first research and everything, and then bring it back to the board, and then at that point, a decision can be made after all the questions are answered and everything. Otherwise, you're directing him to sign something without complete review and something that you may change your mind on. So that's all I'm saying. I'm just saying that the motion at this point in time should not include signing.
I guess my question would be why, if everything's fine, and I mean, he has the option to come back to us if there is something that's...
Because you're telling him to do it, to sign it, and what if everything isn't fine?
Then he'd come back to us.
So that's what I'm saying, he should come back to you before you put the final motion to tell him to sign it. We're waiting to review, just waiting for a review and to make sure that
And I guess,
everything is
so what if this does create a conflict of interest?
exactly, and they've already said that you're supposed to sign it.
Anna, can you reread Eric's original motion for
I
me?
mean, I don't have it word for word. I just wrote down, I just did keywords that you moved to direct Dave, and then I just wrote tweaks, finalize, and sign, and then I crossed out sign or engage contract with Coleman. So Summer always records it so that it is word for word, so.
Eric, do you have your original?
No,
you
it would just be captured by the recording.
Okay, I didn't know if you had something wrote down ahead of time.
Yeah, I guess it's not entirely clear to me that there would necessarily be any problems that would be, prevent him from continuing. But I guess I would be willing to amend my motion to simply say then, instead of engage, to pursue the engagement of. And again, if there are issues with that, you can bring it back to us. But I think the motion should be fairly strongly worded. So if we say to pursue the engagement of, that directs you to just like when we sign off on Troon, every July. If there were an issue, then you would just bring it back to us. And that way we'd continue, and unless there was something pending that needed to be resolved by the board, that would be my only change then.
I guess just this contract or contracts in general, I guess I just would feel hesitant about any contract really to say, sign it without us seeing exactly what it is.
Would it be reasonable for Dave to engage, like we're speaking of, and kind of iron out the details of that? I think it's quite clear what the will of the board as large is, that they want this investigated and if in agreement, move forward with it, which I'm not opposed to. But would it be inappropriate to allow Dave that 1 month until the next action meeting to clarify those so that we can lay it on the table, yay or nay, and then it comes up to a vote with the clear information in front of us instead of what ifs? Again, I'm not saying that I'm opposed to moving forward with this, but is it would it be problematic to allow Dave the time to be able to do that?
Well, that's why I said, I mean, if you want further clarification, I'll amend my motion to pursue the engagement of Coleman Legal Group with final board authorization at the next formal meeting.
Standing as a motion, action item at that meeting.
Standing as an action item at that meeting, final approval.
I think
from the
that's
board.
reasonable, and I could stand behind that.
Monica, did you second that?
I'll go ahead and follow up with the second on it then. Give you an extra few weeks.
Okay, so we have an amended motion on the floor by Eric and supported by Monica.
Would that be
I
more
think
agreeable?
Yes.
Okay.
I do believe that is better. Yes. Thank you.
Thank you.
Anna, technically, with the amendment, you should,
Go back and,
read the amendment, because you have to read the amendment and vote on that, and then,
Yes, sir, you have to vote on the amendment and then on the final motion.
Yes. And I don't care if you do it that way or not, that's just,
okay, you want to say what we want the amended motion to be.
but technically, you would say, we move to amend the motion by changing the words or adding the words, and then, then you go and repeat the motion as amended.
Sorry,
Never mind.
AJ's actually 100% correct in
totally
this.
correct, yeah.
Yes, he is.
So
He
is that
absolutely.
amended motion? Yep.
I don't mean to make it difficult, just
No,
to make
that's
it,
good.
to make it clean,
Okay.
if that's the right word for it.
So did you make that motion then? Or do I, because I
As the president,
can't really,
yeah, I guess that is a little.
I think AJ's right, though. Somebody needs to read the amendment, vote on the amendment, and then vote on the entire motion.
Correct.
Okay.
To follow
So
Robert's rules.
right, so the amended motion is,
Well, not.
The
not
amendment.
All you have to vote on is the changing of the words.
right, we're voting on changing of the words from sign to propose. So I was asking is what you want the new words to be.
I think, Summer, do you have that?
Pursue engagement.
With the final approval coming from the board at the next full meeting.
Okay.
That sound about right,
So now I
what
have
I
everyone
said?
vote on that?
Yes, yeah.
Well, not the next the next
The next
action
action
meeting.
meeting.
Yes,
Yes.
regular.
Yes,
Regular
I think I
meeting.
said as an action
Action
item
item.
at the next official meeting.
I would support that, or offer that motion. I guess I could offer the motion.
No, but.
No, amend.
Approve the amendment.
Approve the
We don't have
amendment.
to do anything. Anna's reading
Mm-hmm.
the amendment
Yeah, the amendment.
and saying what we are actually voting on.
Okay, so I just read the amendment.
Yep, just the amendment.
The amendment is the amendment to the motion or the amendment of the?
The amendment to the motion.
I'm still confused. Yeah, the amendment is the pursue the engagement to an action item for the next full board meeting.
That is correct.
Correct.
Did we vote on that?
Yep, and that's what we vote on that, and then we
Okay.
have to go
Oh, we can just
back.
we can do a hands on that. All in favor of the amendment? Okay, that is all 7. Thank you. Whew, now we'll go to the motion.
Yeah.
All 7 yeses. And we had, the motion was made by Eric and supported by Monica, and we're going to do a roll call on this one.
Member Fritz?
No.
Member Lawson?
Yes.
Member Costain?
Yes.
Member Hanson?
Yes.
Member Dzinski?
Yes.
Member MacArthur?
Yes.
Member Meinhardt?
No. Okay. Sorry about that. That was clear as mud. Okay. No, you're good. You're great. I appreciate it. Yeah. Okay. Up next is the Alpena High School D House Leak 8045. Change order number 6. Simon's back.
Should have stood there.
I started to.
This is in our packet, the Johnson and Wood, the pictures. So we would need a motion to approve the AHS D-House leak contract work to Johnson and Wood in the amount not to exceed $18,208 as presented.
I'll make the motion.
Second.
Anything else? All in favor, show of hands? Okay, that's all 7, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Simon. Elementary interactive display proposal? Yeah. I know last time you were going to check out the one that wasn't exactly, so how did that go?
Yep, so we decided to go with the National Satellite Corp to purchase, when we figured out our final staffing cost for after-school PD, we have funds to purchase 92 Philips 86-inch interactive boards. And that would complete all K-5 classrooms, including art, music rooms, health rooms, and special education rooms.
Okay, so we have.
That was the one that was a little different, correct?
Was
Yep.
that the one you explored the day after?
Yes, so it was the one, we met, we had a virtual meeting with the Philips vendor the following day. We just wanted to make sure that it was actually as durable as what we had had before. The other question was, we didn't know if it was completely Google EDLA compliant, which means that they can basically function any Google app without any risk of violation of anything. They received that certification, like they confirmed they have that as well. So the product was the lower cost, but it offered the same as what we had piloted prior to.
Should we read this tabulation, then the second page, as if that number is written in on all the lines? Because that's going to be for like 1 through 20, 21 through 40.
So what we put here is exactly what they put in their bid. So we just copy the information they gave us. The shipping is included in that number as long as you purchase over 20 devices, but they did not specify. That's the only price they gave us.
No, but I mean, you have the other ones written in that units 1 through 20, units 21 through 40, that we should just read that number as like being in all of these.
So
Is that-
the other companies, the other vendors gave us those specific numbers. You can make that assumption. but that's not what they gave us as like their formal bid, if that makes sense. So the one to the right of that, the Stemfinity brand, they actually gave us those numbers, so that's why we put those on the bid tabulation. National Satellite Corp said that there would be an additional charge if you ordered less than 20 because of the freight charges. But anything over 20, they are telling us that is the cost each. There isn't a lesser cost if you order more.
So she's just saying they didn't specify how
Yes.
much those, that if
They
we were
didn't
going to buy
specify
30, they didn't
if
tell
you
us
ordered
what the
one
price
or
would be.
So on this
Right.
document, we don't add it in because they didn't specify
Oh, I see,
that.
I see.
We
But-
copy their bid, their
I
formal
see.
bid.
But we are buying 92 of them at that price, is what I'm
Correct.
asking.
Yes.
Okay.
Should we
The
just?
long way
I'm
around
good.
it, yes, that is what we're doing.
Should we just maybe make the motion not to exceed that amount? That way then it's covered if there is some additional charge or something like that? Is that what you're kind of?
So that's in the contract.
Okay, it
then-
won't exceed it.
Correct.
Okay, perfect.
Okay, so we would need a motion to accept the bid from National Satellite Corp. to purchase 92 Philips 86-inch interactive displays in the amount of $168,971.80.
I make that motion.
I'll support it.
And just to clarify, grant money.
Yes, yep, this is all coming out of grant funds.
Okay, can we do a roll call on this one for the dollar amount,
Just a
please?
second, Anna.
Oh, sorry.
You're, not for you, Stephanie, just a conversation amongst us. I couldn't help but think about our little book now and adult inputs and affecting student outcomes. This seemed to be one of those things that adults want to input this to change the outcomes. But I'm curious if it actually, I guess maybe it's chapter 5. He goes into greater detail about this. Trying to remember which. At any rate, we all learned on a chalkboard, for crying out loud, and did okay. And now we have to have a digital screen. I'm just curious if we as adults are trying to put in more than is necessary to affect student outcome.
AJ, I think you might be remembering that discussion of the computers where the author, it was a
It wasn't
different one?
that one.
Oh,
There
wasn't?
was something else.
Well, I remember he was very gung-ho about all the computers and then realized that that wasn't really going to change student outcomes in the way that maybe he'd hoped.
I think in chapter 5, he talked about, he worked with a board, they bought and they thought they needed a new curriculum, spent all kinds of money on it, and went backwards with it. It's,
Well, if you remember at the last meeting, I shared my reservations with it, not so much for the adult input, but from the screen time perspective, which is something I've spoken about a few times, and certainly needs to be taken into consideration with any screen time, especially at the younger elementary, for developmental, cognitive, or executive function is one of the biggest things that's affected in the youth. And there's a lot of very interesting, albeit not necessarily nailed down information on it, but it certainly should be taken into consideration, and that was my concern. On the flip side of that, this is the same type of thing that's at the schools now, correct, for interaction. So I had the opportunity to talk to some of the individuals that are using it, in the students that are using it too, and I do, it was, from those that I spoke to, loved it, said that the interaction with the students was fantastic, that they were able to engage with it. And so those reservations that I had, although I still hold them and should be taken into consideration, I think that the potential for growth here, especially as the children get a little bit older for interactive, is there. So I do hold reservations on both sides, but I've changed my opinion slightly. I wouldn't say changed my opinion, but I'm in support of it for different reasons.
well, in addition to that, I wish I could wrote the book down where it was. I got an email unrelated, and there was a link attached to it talking about how the decline of test scores, they can almost see a correlation back to, I want to say 2000, it was 2008, I think it was, when every student got a device in school. And they say there is a sharp mark of decline. Now, I didn't dig into their study at all. It was just something I read in passing. So just two things that prompted me to say, wait a minute. So that's all I...
And AJ's not wrong. There is a ton of information out there that links executive function, the ability to focus on anything more than a snippet, a Snapchat type mentality to devices. And there is some very interesting things. And I think that we definitely have to look at that, and it should be part of the conversation. These devices, it's kind of like AI. It's wonderful and it's frightening at the same time, right? And so technology is what we make of it. And I think if used for the right purposes, we went from chalkboards to whiteboards to these things. What's going to happen, 15 years from now? But I think that there is great potential. And again, those teachers and staff that I spoke to that are utilizing them like them and think that they'll help. So I have to kind of hang my hat on that.
Okay, thank you, AJ. Anything else? Okay, we have a motion on the floor, and we'll do a roll call when you're ready, Summer.
Member Lawson?
Yes.
Member Dzinski?
Yes.
Member Hanson?
Yes.
Member Costain?
Yes.
Member MacArthur?
No.
Member Fritz?
Yes.
Member Meinhardt?
Yes. Okay, thank you, everyone. And you're just going to stay on up
Say
there,
my-
Stephanie.
my
Up
next,
next,
okay.
yep, the proposed elementary math curriculum. Thank you for emailing out the presentation since it didn't come up on the screen last week.
And I know we went into this quite detailed, so I'd like to go ahead and just put the motion on the floor then to purchase the HMH into math, K through 5 math curriculum totaling $323,694.35 spread over 5 years.
Support.
Anything further?
The only comment, and it's not a discussion, it's more of a comment, is some of the information, and it was brought up in public comment. Our old curriculum was here for 10 years, or whatever it was.
It was actually 15.
15 years.
Well, I wasn't sure, but it was
And
15.
so 15 years, and test scores certainly were not improving during that time, and yet we continued to teach it. And so my only hope or my only recommendation is that we have more timely feedback and evaluation so that we're not, 7 years down the road and realize this isn't working for us and have to do something different. And so I, do urge the school to take a look at that a little bit sooner, please.
And that is part of the strategic plan, the long-term instructional infrastructure. I was not here, but, if you look at the financial status of the district over those last 15-some years, and you see the price of putting a new curriculum into place, my guess is at the time, when it came up, for cycled review, that financial status played a big part in the decision whether to move forward or not. So,
Well, that sounds like a big adult input, not a outcome input there.
I would agree. Because when did the district come out of the debt reduction plan? 16?
16, they started just edging out a little bit.
So prior to 16, going back to, I think, 2008, the district was under financial watch from the state and having to right their ship significantly. So it is a part of the strategic plan, and the goal is to put all of our subjects on a cycle of review and implementation, updating those sorts of things, and then to be, that financial component is a big piece of it.
Yeah. I think it's important to note that we did update the secondary math curriculum, what, 2 years ago or a year ago, 1 year ago, and so we're, you know.
Elementary ELA was
Two.
two, and then full implementation last year.
Yep, so we're making our way through it, and so I think that's great. So, anything else while we have a motion on the floor? Okay, roll call, please.
Member Brzezinski?
Yes.
Member Hanson?
Yes.
Member Costain?
Yes.
Member MacArthur?
Yes.
Member Fritz?
Yes.
Member Lawson?
Yes.
Member Meinhardt?
Yes. Okay, thank you. Thank you to the committee who worked on that, too. Okay, we have the 2025 Retirees Recognition and Appreciation Resolution. And I think we usually read this one, because this is pretty important. Good stuff.
Yep.
Would you like me to read it, or are you going to read it? Who would like to read it?
I think you read it last.
Okay, I didn't practice, so. A regular meeting of the Board of Education of the Alpena Public Schools was held in the Alpena High School.
Sorry.
It was held in the held in our board office on May 19th, 2025, beginning at 5:30 p.m. All members present. The following preamble and resolution, well, I guess will be offered by someone and seconded by another member. Whereas the Alpena Public Schools has been fortunate to have a dedicated staff committed to the mission of the district, and whereas several members of the staff are now about to embark on new adventures in life away from Alpena Public Schools, and whereas we, as members of the Alpena Public Schools Board of Education, wish to extend our utmost appreciation for the work that these staff members have done to make education an exciting and joyous experience for the students of our district, and whereas the Board of Education wishes to extend our sincere best wishes for every happiness in the future for those staff members who will be leaving the district at the end of the school year. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the Alpena Public Schools Board of Education recognizes and appreciates the service of those employees departing the district and wishes them well in all future endeavors, and further, that this resolution of appreciation and support be duly recorded and spread across the minutes of the Alpena Public Schools Board of Education on this 19th day of the month of May in the year 2025. And we will be honoring these staff members. Gabriel Ross, 18 years library instructional aide at Lincoln Elementary. Sherry Schrader, 29 years lead cook, Thunder Bay Junior High. Tracy Erlab, 30 years Dean of Students, Besser Elementary. Julie Griffiths, 31 years custodian, Thunder Bay Junior High. Maureen Regan, 31 years, Title I teacher at Besser Elementary. Bridie Haugard, 30 years, office assistant, Alpena High School. Matthew Kohler, 25 years, PE teacher, Thunder Bay Junior High. Katie Rondow Thompson, 29 years, Title I teacher, Lincoln Elementary. Kristen Shupak, 29 years, social studies teacher, Thunder Bay Junior High. Amy Blumenthal, 33 years, Title I teacher, Sanborn Elementary. Christina Coping, 30 years, online teacher, Besser Elementary. Melody Zelanzi, 29 years, elementary art teacher, multiple buildings. Melissa Habermel, 31 years, second, third grade teacher at Wilson Elementary. Kelly Poley, 25 years, English teacher, Thunder Bay Junior High. Yvette Cushman, 27 years, instructional aide, Alpena High School. That's 432 years of service. So we would need to approve the motion and recognition. Yep, make a motion to approve the recognition and resolution of retirees as presented.
I would offer that motion.
Second.
Okay. Eric and Sarah, anything further? Okay, all in favor, show of hands, please. Okay, that's all 7, thank you. Okay, Okay, consideration of the agreement to collect 2025 summer taxes.
So each year we send out letters to all the townships and to Alpena City inquiring whether or not they want to collect summer taxes for us. The townships never want to, which is fine. The city does do this annually for us. They do charge us a per parcel amount, and this year's amount is $1.0378 per parcel. Last year, there were 5,470 parcels, and last year's bill was $5,676.76. Parcels usually don't fluctuate very much. I have a list of like 20 and 21. It was 5,421 parcels. 22, it was 5,471. It's 50 parcels, but it may have been like a division of land or some change in the PRE taxing. And then 2023, it was 5,470, and 2024, the 5,470. So we'll probably be right around in that range. The reason why we do this is to keep our cash flow kind of on a steady basis. Instead of receiving all of our tax receipts in December, we receive the city ones in the summertime. Just helps spread things out, keeps us from having to borrow a couple $1 million and paying $20-some thousand in interest on it. So that's why we do it this way.
I move into agreement with the city of Alpena to collect the district's 2025 summer property tax levy of 100% with a collection fee of $1.0378 per parcel.
Support.
Anything further? All in favor, show of hands, please. Okay, thank you. That's 7. Okay, new business, human resources staff update.
Hello, we have new hires. We have 3 new hires for fall of August 25. Christina Schatz is a behavioral consultant. We have Sarah Bedford, secondary teacher at ACES, and Richard Volz, a PE teacher at Thunder Bay Junior High. We have support staff. Haley Honor is an instructional assistant at Ella White. Janice Bradford is custodian at Thunder Bay Junior High, and Tina Cameron is a food service helper at Thunder Bay Junior High. We had 2 resignations. One, Ian Smith, a science teacher at Thunder Bay Junior High, effective June 30th, and Jason Patterson, a science teacher at Alpena High School, effective August 31st of 25. And then we have 1 retirement. Julie Griffith is a custodian, April 30th of 2025, with 31 years of service. So we just want to say thank you and congratulations on retirement.
Thank you. Anything further?
Motion to professional.
We would need to move to approve the hiring of the new professional staff after completion of proper certification, testing, and other HR requirements. We need a motion for that, please.
I'll make that motion.
Support.
Any further conversation? Okay, all in favor, show of hands, please. Okay, thank you. It's 7 yeses. Okay, charitable gifts.
Yes, we have some lovely gifts from our generous community. Emily Tolowiecka, Chelsea Thompson, and Caitlin Rousseau gave a generous monetary donation of $3,600 towards school supplies to support the students of Hinks Elementary. Little Caesars donated 20 pizzas to support the math title night at Lincoln Elementary. Thunder Bay Curry donated churros valued at $50 to support the students of Thunder Bay Junior High School Spanish class Cinco de Mayo celebration. Don's Tractor Sales gave a generous monetary donation of $2,300 to pay off the remaining amount due on the Alpena FFA tractor to support the students of Alpena High School. Dennis and Ruth Rabo gave a generous monetary donation of $30 to support the McKinney-Vento Fit program, helping students and families in need. Dean Arbor Ford Lincoln Mercury gave a generous monetary donation of $100 to support students of Alpena High School Kaput. Thunder Bay Electric gave a generous monetary donation of $100 to support the students of Alpena High School Kaput. Besser Company gave a generous donation of $200 to support Kelly Poley's creative writing project and the students of Thunder Bay Junior High. Ron Lemke donated precious items in honor of former Besser music teacher Carol Witherby, a didgeridoo, auto harp, electric keyboard, and a wooden tongue drum valued at $500 to support the students at Besser Elementary. Hungry Hippie gave a gift card donation valued at $25 in support of the students for the AHS Kaput Senior Celebration. Michelle Cornish generously donated gift cards to Applebee's valued at $25 and Meijer valued at $25 in support of the students for the AHS Kaput Senior Celebration.
Move to accept the gifts listed above with gratitude and thank the donors in writing for their generous gifts.
Support.
Okay, all in favor, show of hands, please. Okay, thank you. Okay, discussion items. We have the Raymond Employee Engagement Survey.
Just an update, we've got a meeting scheduled with Cheryl Cooch, you'll remember from Raymond, with their administrative team to go over the data from this most recent administration. That is scheduled for Friday, at which point then we'll be able to report out to the board at the next workshop and work to get the results out to our staff going forward.
Okay. Strategic planning.
And then we have an academics and programs presentation / discussion.
Oh, thank you. Let's see if my screen remembers. All right, it did. Okay, so I've been working closely with Steph and Matt and Dave to develop a system of implementation for our Pillar 1 academics and programs, and that's what we'll talk about today. So as everybody knows, Pillar 1, we're going to deliver high-quality instruction to maximize student achievement. So in order to do that, we're going to design and deliver effective instruction with teacher clarity, and design and deliver an effective instructional coaching system. So we're going to talk more in depth about the systems for those two areas. Those two areas are going to impact Tier 1, or a multi-tiered system of support. So that's going to lay the foundation for Tier 1 for that high-quality instruction. So we are hitting all areas of our Pillar 1, but this is going to be our focus area for the fall. So effective implementation of evidence-based practice will have that direct correlation to improve student outcomes. So we took a lot of time this year to learn about system implementation and change, because we know that if we're implementing evidence-based practices with fidelity, the student outcomes will come. So this formula is aligned to implementation science. So it's really the what, the how, the who, and the why. So our effective practice, that's our evidence-based measures, systems, teacher clarity, and the Sweeney model. So the Sweeney model is going to be the model that we follow for our coaching system. So the first thing we need to do when rolling out a system is to make sure that the competency is there for our staff. So we need to make sure we're providing strong professional development. We'll talk a little more in depth of these areas later in the presentation, but you've heard Steph talk this year about the teacher clarity training that has happened at K-5. The secondary folks had it in the past. We also have a few of our coaches who are now trainers for teacher clarity, so we really have that capacity to make sure that all of our staff, as they get hired or as they need refreshers, we have an embedded system to make sure that they can continue that support. And with that professional development, we're going to have that strong instructional coaching that will help bridge what they've learned into practice. And so to ensure that we're holding ourselves accountable for implementing our system with fidelity. We're going to set up some instructional rounds for the fall. And we'll talk a little bit about that in the future, in the next slide. But the instructional rounds are really going to utilize this tool called the practice profile, which will have the district's non-negotiables identified for teacher clarity in the Sweeney model. And that will help us understand how well we're implementing the system and make adjustments to make sure that we're implementing with fidelity. And so through those instructional rounds and the data we collect of the practice profile, the next area, that's the who. Those are our teams, our district teams that are going to be looking at that data and making adjustments. So it's going to start with team time. That's the grade level team, or the secondary. That's the content area team. And then that will go out broader to the building leadership teams, to the district leadership teams, and then we'll be able to make those system and instructional adjustments based on that data. And then through all of that work, we should start seeing student outcomes improving. Now, we know that it's going to take some time to get our systems in place with fidelity, so that student outcomes will continue to be monitored, of course, but we would expect some time for all of that to get in motion. So just to talk a little bit more about our implementation fidelity and data collection cycles for teacher clarity, again, that practice profile is really going to be the tool to measure the stages of development from the beginning, developing, to full implementation. And we're going to be measuring those district non-negotiables. So that's for teacher clarity, the learning intentions, and the success criteria. The practice profile can also be used as a tool for teachers to self-reflect. They can look at the tool and understand where they're at in their implementation process for teacher clarity. And that might lead to support from the coaching cycles with our coaches. So that tool, like I had mentioned, will be utilized in our instructional rounds. And this is really our fidelity check team. So we'll have monthly instructional rounds with some principals, an instructional coach, and a teacher representative. And they'll collect data using that practice profile within focus areas. This is not evaluative to the teachers. This is purely looking at our implementation practice and identifying areas that we might need to make adjustment and more support. So like I mentioned in the previous slide, that data will then go through our system of teams, and then we'll be able to have reporting events from those team activities where we can share out our findings and our action steps for adjustments. And that will go through the building admin, central office, and then we'll be able to come back to you and give you a report on how our implementation is going. For our coaching model, like I said, we're going to be using the Sweeney model for our coaching system. So the first thing we need to do, if we remember our implementation formula, is we need to make sure that everybody has the PD they need. So that includes the three of us. We're going to attend some PD on the Sweeney model to make sure that we have the knowledge and skills to support our coaches. And then our coaches and consultants will participate in some professional development on the Sweeney model as well. And we'll be doing some work with AMA as well for to grow our capacity with the coaching model. So as we go through that professional development, that will help us develop that practice profile for the coaching model. And that will, again, help us measure our implementation for that system. And also what we're going to do is define what coaching is and what coaching is not. And so our coaches have done so much for us over the year, especially as we've had turnover and new staff starting throughout the school year. So we want to make sure now that we've kind of stabilized, that we're really looking at everything they're doing and they're spending their time coaching and supporting our teachers that need it. We'll also be looking at the roles of our CALs. You may have heard us talk about CALs in the past. That's the content area leaders. So like a secondary crew will have a CAL for their math and so on. So looking at their roles and making sure we're not duplicating efforts with the instructional coach and the CALs. We want to grow our capacity and support our teachers to the maximum extent possible. We'll also need to refine how we're going to get our teachers connected to coaches for support as well. So while that is still going to be a work in process, we are able to utilize some data in the interim. We can look at the number of coaching cycles that our coaches are supporting with the new teachers. The teachers that are participating in the coaching cycles will have the ability to see how they're progressing on their teacher clarity practice profiles. So that would be a measure. Again, we're going to still be looking at all of our student outcome data to see how our fidelity of implementation is impacting, and that instructional rounds process is really going to support that data and also identify some focus areas for coaching. So that was a really quick overview, so you may have some questions, and I'm happy to answer them.
Thank you. Does anyone have any questions?
All right,
Great
thanks.
stuff. Thank you. That was great. Okay, we are at the second opportunity for any citizens or delegations who would like to address the board.
Good evening. I'm Lisa Ray. I live at 502 Avery Street, Alpena, Michigan. I'm the president of the Teachers Union, and I'm just here to point out something that I probably should have pointed out earlier before this agenda. But on your retirees notice here, Kelly Poley is actually 30 years. So we want to make sure that that is noted. It is in all of our like newspaper ads and everything that's going out, but I just wanted you to make sure you noted that Kelly is 30 proud years as a teacher with Alpena Public Schools. Thank you.
Thank you. Sorry about that, Kelly.
I'm Yvonne LaFave Johnson. I still live in Alpena Township. I'm very disappointed that you're looking to engage Coleman Legal Group at $2.75 an hour when you already have Troon Law engaged as your general counsel. Troon represents the majority of Michigan school districts. They've been representing districts in our state since the 50s. The firm has a wealth of constitutional law expertise, including free speech, religion, and due process as a result of all that work. And Troon's recognized as the gold standard, the premier public sector law firm in our state. My understanding is that Troon issued an opinion that advised you against adopting the bathroom policy, which is their professional responsibility per your contract with the firm. Just because you don't like an opinion does not mean the firm is acting with bias. In fact, they're representing our interests. It appears that you're shopping with our taxpayer dollars to get an opinion that supports a radical political agenda targeting vulnerable kids. And that's just disappointing.
Thank you. Anyone else? Okay, we will move on to letters and communication, information and proposals. Do have a few emails for you to read that came through to you.
So the board received 91 emails titled Abolishing the Proposed Bathroom Policy. A letter from Jill Nenowitz was in support of the proposed privacy policy. Then there was an additional letter from Janet Fairchild to the board regarding the privacy policy. And then I have a few letters to read. We just wanted to announce how many.
Yep, just what the communication was and then letters that came to you.
Okay. The letter from Janet Fairchild writes, I am writing to urge the board to adopt a policy on student access to bathrooms, locker rooms, and other private facilities that is both legally sound and genuinely inclusive. Michigan law affirmed by the 2002 Roush World LLC versus MDCR decision requires public schools to provide access based on gender identity. Departing from the standard exposes the district to legal, financial, and reputable risk. At the same time, concerns about privacy and safety, especially from the students and families, deserve thoughtful attention. This doesn't have to be a zero-sum issue. Rather than relying on anecdotal input from private conversations or student council discussions, I encourage the board to work with students and staff to develop a structured, confidential survey. This would offer a clearer, more inclusive understanding of student experiences without placing anyone in an uncomfortable spotlight. Leadership means listening carefully, seeking better data, and making decisions that reflect the core mission of a public school district. I urge you to lead with independence, not obligation, to the shifting priorities of political action groups, and to ensure that every student, transgender, cisgender alike, feel safe, respected, and supported. Thank you for your continued openness and thoughtful consideration. Janet Fairchild. I received a letter from Tim Marcotte. The school has a restroom located next to the main office in which anyone can use. However, I would not be comfortable with my son or daughter having a designated female or male restroom or locker room with the opposite sex. It is hard to believe I would have to send such an email. I am not a girl dad, but I can just imagine if I was, how infuriating I would be if our school adopts such a potentially harmful liberal policy. I received another email. This is from Mary Labarge. I absolutely do not want anyone that is not biologically female in the same bathroom or locker room with my granddaughters. The Alpena Public Schools deserves a big failing grade for my granddaughter's education. You must adopt the Fairview Plan to keep all the young people safe. Sincerely, Mary Labarge.
Okay, thank you. Okay, reports and information from the superintendent and staff. Superintendent update.
Just not being self-grandizing or anything, I did write a column in this week's Alpena News just about, if you can pass that out, just about the upcoming long-term facilities study. So just making everyone aware, and yes, I am wearing the same coat in that picture right now. Strange. And that's it for this section.
Thank you. Extras, I guess.
Do we need to take up a collection for a new coat, Dave?
Yeah, one that fits.
I just wanted to say thank you for quoting Niels Bohr. Einstein gets a lot of love, but Bohr not necessarily so, but a brilliant physicist. Thank you for that.
Okay, information and questions from board members.
I just had a sort of a kind of a question/request for like big print stuff. I've mentioned this a couple of occasions, but I believe my eye doctor is in agreement that chemo may have done something to my vision. We're having a difficulty getting a close-up. Otherwise, I seem to be okay, but getting a prescription that works close up is proving to be really, really challenging. And it's not just the regular presbyopia. So if we could just have like stuff that I can read, and like there was like I said the other day, the questions online about the book. Looking at that, and I did finally find it. I just can't read it. Even with this, I mean, I'd have to get maybe a magnifying glass or something. So just big print stuff for the old guy, please. Thank you very much.
I do have a question too. We haven't heard anything about the cross-country track coming. Is that, where are we with that?
So it's a project that we've been working on for a couple of years with Simon, and Run United is the primary funder that we're working out the details of. We will have a small cost for fencing, and then they would be covering the costs for everything else.
Okay. Is there a timeline for?
Yeah, they want to have it ready for the fall
Okay.
season, and I think that's reasonable.
Yeah, I'm waiting on some feedback from the DNR on the trail crossings.
Yeah.
Okay.
So once we have all that squared away, then we'll announce it, so to speak.
Awesome. Cool.
I have a note in the gifts. Don's Ford gave that amount to pay off the FFA tractor. I'm not sure which one, but a note to them or a mark for them because we didn't buy the next tractor from them. We went with Sumrix's this winter was, but they still were very generous. So kind of a mark for them on that one.
Anyone else? Okay. Up next, for everyone here, we are moving into a closed session regarding a personnel matter. And when we come back, we will likely be taking action. So we will be doing that, but if you decide to leave, that's okay too. Where are we headed?
We'll stay in here just
Okay.
because we have some people joining us.
Okay, so we'll ask everyone to leave once we go into closed session, but we will need a motion to move into a closed session for personnel.
So moved.
Support.
Do we need a roll call on this one? On personnel? We don't.
Not to go into closed.
Well, yeah, for some of the closed sessions you do, but yeah. It was AJ and then Eric Hansen. Okay, all in favor? Show of hands, please. Okay, that was all 7. Thank you. You were late, sorry.
I'm sorry. Is that allowed?
We got the gowns all straightened out.
I got bad news for you.
I ordered a new one. Yeah, I went ahead and ordered another one because I know I didn't wear my school colors last year.
I have no idea whose I wore.
I have no idea whose I wore either, so.
Okay, do we have everybody's? No one's left outside. Okay, we are back in open. Are we coming, are we back live? Okay, microphone's on. We are back in open session, and we will need a motion to approve the non-renewal of a probationary teacher.
I would offer that motion.
Second.
Okay, we will need a roll call on this one, please.
Yeah.
Member Hanson?
Aye.
Member Costain?
Aye.
Member MacArthur?
Aye.
Member Fritz?
Aye.
Member Lawson?
Aye.
Member Kaczynski?
Aye.
Member Meinhardt?
Aye, yes. Okay, thank you. Okay, up ahead for advanced planning, June 4th is ACES graduation. June 8th is Alpena High School graduation at 1:30 at Wildcat Stadium. June 10th will be the retirement dinner for AEA members at the Aplex at 5. All retirees, AEA, all, yes, not just AEA, but yes, all APS retirement dinner, all employees. Get your RSVPs and checks in for summer on that one. June 23rd is our workshop here at 5:30, and June 30th is the regular meeting here at 5:30. And with that, we can adjourn.